All right, doing the normal sanding routine. I start at the outside and I work my way in. But the main focus for this stage is to make sure that the leading edge, right at where the parting line is going to be, is very clean. I don't want to knock that ridge down at the leading edge until all the sanding's been done and I'm okay with it. There will be a couple more coats of sealer put on, but we've got to make sure that's clean before we knock the ridge down. Now I'm taping off the leading edge flange so I don't tear it up with the sander here, and using the sander just to get close. All right, so I sanded the entire tool with 600. Checked it over with a light. Everything looks really good. Good enough to where I can go ahead and knock this flange off, or this ridge. I mask the flange with masking tape and then just use 220 grit with a flat pad on the DA and go around and sand it down to the tape. That way I'm not like totally trashing the work I did yesterday with the resin sealer and all the sanding. And so now I can unmask this and I'll use a stick block for the rest, but I just have a small little ridge left, very small ridge to sand. So that's the step right now, and then I'll drill these bushings out and do the same process on that piece, and we'll pin them together, and I'll take another short video of how those line up and everything. So back to the stick block, going around the perimeter here, knocking the what's left of that ridge down. There are some little tedious areas like right at the nose and right at the wingtips that take a bit of time to finesse out. My tendency is just to lay into it, but you got to be really careful not to over sand. So just slowly getting rid of that ridge. Now I'm drilling, and I'm just using a 3/8 drill bit, or I'm sorry, a 3/8 reamer. I use that first to clear out any residual epoxy, and then I drill completely through the tool using the bushings as guides, obviously, and drilled through the tool. Then I'm flip it up and drill from the back, but the bit is bigger for the back. And I'm drilling all the way up to the other side of the bushing. So when I'm punching pins through, it's only seeing bushings and no, excess material. Here's a little close-up of sanding this ridge down. Just like the upper tool, I masked off the flange. But this particular tool right here, you can see there's a lot of anhedral built into the body of this aircraft, so it sticks up quite a bit right here. And if I'm coming in here with the sander to kind of get this close, it's wanting to hit. You see how I'm going to interfere right there. So I was really close. I think I may have touched it in a spot, which I'll check in a minute. But once I realized that, I went ahead and put this tape here so I can just not have to be quite so careful with it. One thing to note here is you see all that dust over on the right side. I had started sanding that area without turning the vacuum on, and what you're looking at now is me sanding with the vacuum on. Just a massive difference. If you guys haven't tried one of these sanders with the dust with the vacuum collection, it's definitely a very clean way to work. Highly recommend.
can kind of see what I have left. Much easier to sand. All right, well, it's the first time we're going to pin it together, so let's hope it goes together. So all of the bushings were reamed out after I did the drilling. I used a .375 reamer well, before I did the drilling, I used a .375 reamer to clear out any epoxy in all of the bushings. Then I take a 3/8 drill bit, 375 drill bit, and punch through all the way down. And then I come from the back and use the next size up. 10 millimeter actually is what I used for the back. And then I went in and waxed all of these bushings and made sure not to get any wax up on here. Cleaned it off, acetone, wiped the whole top, and then all of these pins have been waxed as well. So that's the one I was really hoping would go. That one's in. So this one's a little funky. I'm gonna look down, see what's up. It looks pretty good, so I'm gonna hit it a little bit harder here. Alright, so it's in. Everything's pinned. And so I'm looking at the leading edge because I want the leading edge to be really flush. And this is so thin I can't get my finger. Usually I can get my finger in there and kind of feel around to see if it's how flush it is. But this one won't allow me to do that. But I can see it looks really nice. Get the camera down here as well. All right, so I just pinned this together for the first time. And first thing I look for, is that everything's fitting nicely together and the leading edge is tight. That's like the most critical thing that I want to have happen. Can't see it very well. It's very thin. I can't get my finger in there to even feel it, but I can look at it and tell that it's pretty flush there. So I'm happy with the results, and then get to see the trailing edge thickness. Remember, this is upside down. And then also one thing to note is that's not really the true airfoil, right? So like you see this joint right here, that's the actual direction that the plane flies. So the airfoil in here is actually like this long. It's from here to here. This side also looking clean. Let's see if I can get any kind of light in here. Yeah, so it's looking nice. Notice I have this step here built into the tool, which maintains the trailing edge thickness everywhere. So the next thing to do, I'll try to pin the tips on, but at some point I'm gonna pull that one off so I can do the same visual inspection on the wingtips before I do the glue up, just so I can, make sure that there's nothing weird happening there. Here it is with the wingtips plugged on. Everything looked just as well, so I went ahead and taped everything off and did the glue up. I wish I would have in this video shared some more of the masking, so I'll show that when I take this apart, but went ahead and did the strong back and got it all clamped up, curing overnight.